Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the NFC West Roundtable. Normally you are greeted with a countdown, but I have been obsessed with my spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's, and I didn't hit the live button going into it. But regardless, we sincerely appreciate you tuning in for a post-draft episode. All right, now there's no more speculation, and there's no more people yelling at you about why you're wrong about wanting a wide receiver. You should have been looking at an offensive lineman in this specific part of the draft. We have it all, and we're good. And the NFC West, for the most part, at least, of course, according to our host, has gotten that much better. Now, on today's episode, we're going to be going through each and every single draft, and we're going to be giving it a grade. So do us a favor and please engage in the chat and give us your grades as we go along. Let's go around the table and see how everyone's doing. Mike, what's going on with you, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. No funny business in the 4th overall pick. I absolutely love it. Cardinals had a total of 12 picks, and there's a buzz, man. There's a buzz around the valley here in Phoenix, Arizona, just with Marvin just alone, and it's just really exciting. Good times, but I am honestly done with mock draft, 300.4 that I've been doing. I've been doing mock drafts up the yin yang, so I'm good that we're done with that, but super excited, and I'm so happy to break this down a little later on.
Norb, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Yeah, it's good to be past this process. I'd say overall the draft was good. I think our first couple picks were definitely solid. A few question marks in the later rounds, where we could have picked up something else, where it was said where we got front loaded on some other parts. But for the most part, I think we addressed what we had to. So I'm overall pretty pleased with where we ended up in the draft.
Love to hear it. Jesse, what's going on with you, man?
Hey, man, draft content, it kind of gives you the feeling of being back in the season. The views are up as if it's the middle of week 8. You're getting ready for a big game. So it's enjoyable during the off season. And now we're waiting for the schedule release next week, and then it's dead period. So enjoy it while you can, content creators. It's about to go downhill, but we'll enjoy it while we can.
That's exactly why I'm going on vacation on Friday, man.
Oh, man. I'm going to follow suit next year.
Dude, you need to. Speaking of which, Jake,
yeah. Well, I'm in the process of moving, so this will probably be the last thing that I do before this is gone. But yeah, a lot of fun. Live stream, we just shattered our own channel record, so that was sick. Just a very fun weekend. I definitely resonate with what Jesse was saying. It was really enjoying the views going crazy. Now I'm going to be competing with the Dodgers until they get eliminated from the playoffs. So, hey, I'm feeling good.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, we are going to savor it, but that does not mean that we are not absolutely hell-bent on entertaining you today. Folks, please do us a favor, smash that like button on your way in. Sound off in the chat. Let us know what team you are currently representing as we bring you to the very first mock draft that we are going to look over, and that just so happens to be the LA Rams. Certainly a lot of hype around this one, and as you can see, I have all of the picks right in front of y'all's faces. Jake, do us a favor, take it away. Just some nuggets from the draft, some potential starters, things that you wish they would have done differently, and then follow it up with a grade for us.
Yeah, so I loved this draft. Kind of comparing it to last year, I think is unfair since there were 14 picks last year. And last year, they did everything they could to really quickly turn around a roster that needed it without a first-round pick. So we got a chance to see what the Rams would do in the first round. I was told they tried so many times to trade up. They were interested in Byron Murphy. They obviously, everyone and their mother now knows that they wanted Brock Bowers. But I can tell you right now, now that the draft has happened, I think it's best that the Brock Bowers trade didn't go through. Because this haul was really good. I mean, going out and getting Fisk and Verse, pairing them, bringing in Corum. I have something in my eye, so I'll try to just roll with it. But bringing in Corum, I was really impressed with that pick. I mean, maybe a little bit early, but him and Kyron, they're about the same guy. So I think that was huge because, allows them to run the offense the way they want to. Then you have Cameron Kinchins, who's going to come in and start day one. So you got, potentially 4 starters day one, including the kicker that I think is going to be a franchise kicker. Then you got Jordan Whittington, who I'm really excited about. I'm dying over here, so don't mind me. But Tyler Davis, adding to the trenches there, losing Donald, going out and getting Davis, going out and getting Fisk and Verse, and then Brandon Jackson, who, I'm a huge fan of, interviewed him, one of the best interviews I've ever had. And, at the end of the interview, I told my co-host Alexis, I was like, this guy's going to be a Ram. They're going to finally meet with this guy, and they are not going to let him go. And, sure enough, they drafted him. Like the pickup of the backup guys. I think Leviston has starting upside, and I think Bo Limmer is an athletic specimen who also has starting upside. So all over this draft, I thought the Rams did an excellent job, and it was different. We're used to Les Snead trading down. We're used to Les Snead wheeling and dealing. And yes, he absolutely overpaid for the Braden Fisk pick, but I do not care because it's more about just what they ended up getting. And I'm really excited about it. They really tried to be aggressive in the first round. It didn't work out. Verse falls to them at 19. I mean, I live in the Albany area, and Verse played at UAlbany here before transferring to Florida State, so it was extra special for me. But yeah, I absolutely love this class, and I'd give them an A because they literally don't have holes. I mean, you can always say teams can get better, they can upgrade, all of that, but they do not have holes on this roster currently.
And so final grade.
Oh, yeah, I'm giving it an A.
Giving it an A from Jake. All right.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. Mike, thoughts on the Rams draft, man?
Honestly, I would love to bag on them because I don't like any LA teams, but I think they did pretty good, especially with the first 4 picks. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't go A personally, but Verse is good. Braden Fisk is definitely a guy I really liked as well. Blake Corum was the running back that I wanted. I ain't mad at who we got, but I do like Blake Corum. And then Kitchens as well. But I mean, overall, I think they did pretty good. I do agree with Jake. I think it was just definitely really weird to see them have as many picks as they actually had. We're not really used to that here in the NFC West for them to even be picking. So like when I was watching, it was really weird to hear the something pick. The Rams choose this, right? It's just odd. But I think overall they did pretty good. I do agree they don't have much holes, but overall, I think they took a swing at a few prospects that I really like, and I'm not excited, but I'm interested. That's the word. I'm interested to see what they do with the Rams because I was really, really high on a few of these guys that they got. But overall, I would say B+.
B+ from Mike on the Rams draft. Let's move on to Jesse. Now, what do you think about this one, man?
Yeah, I thought the Rams did a really good job. In fact, Jake and I had hit each other up at some point, I think after day 2, and was like, man, the Rams are doing great here. I do think they lost it a little bit towards the middle rounds. The only reason I say that is because they didn't get a linebacker or a corner. And I know that they got corners during the offseason, but I feel like there's still a little bit of a need there. This corners, a bit of an upgrade, but they don't necessarily scare me. And it seems like the Rams don't value linebacker at all for whatever reason. Yeah, they don't. They don't. So no linebackers, no corners. One thing that I do like about their draft is they went trenches. And that's not a theme only this year. This is a theme from last year. In fact, I charted out what they have done the last 2 years, and 54% of their picks have come in the trenches, either offensive or defensive line. So I think when you build that way, it's always a smart way to go. Overall, the one pick that really just grinds my gears is the Bo Limmer pick. I was hoping the 49ers would take him, but the 49ers didn't. And then a pick or two later, Bo Limmer goes to the Rams after I think they started out absolutely on fire. So I'm going to give it a B+ as well. I think they did a very, very good job.
Last but not least, Norb. What do you think, man?
Yeah, not much to complain about here. Jared Verse was a guy that I thought if the Seahawks were going to go edge, that would have been a guy I would have liked to have gotten. So as soon as you took him, I thought, okay, that was a good move there. And I know filling in the shoes for Aaron Donald, that's a big hole to fill, but I thought they did a pretty good job of addressing the trenches right there to quickly try to fill that need. So, but then what really got me thinking about how strong the Rams are going to be is besides your already pretty strong running back core, you add Blake Corum. And then did I just see earlier today that they got Boston Scott too added to the...
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
So, man, I'm like, dang, this is going to be our defensive line, our corners, our linebackers are going to have a field day trying to keep up with these guys. So, Yeah, so overall, I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't really think of anything where they overreached drastically or, didn't, have any picks that didn't make sense. So I'm a little more conservative on my plus grades, but I definitely gave it a solid B.
A solid B. Norb coming on in. I absolutely love it. All right. Now we have to talk about the team that certainly had its share of woes for the past couple of years. We have the Arizona Cardinals. And as Mike attempted to allude to a bit earlier, that there tends to be a bit of excitement in the Valley about this Arizona Cardinals team being able to make some noise in the 2024 season after the draft. Mike, walk us through this. Let us know some of your personal favorite pickups, some places you wish your team would have went differently, and follow it up with a grade for me.
I'm just disappointed that we didn't have a screenshot with pictures of all our picks. I mean, we had so many. That's why.
Win the division, you'll get that one. You know what I mean? Just win the division, you'll get that.
Did Rookie Watch give it an A++++++?
Yeah, another plus on that. But yeah, let's go and dive into it. The Arizona Cardinals ended up having what? 11 picks in the start of this draft and ended up with 12 picks. So Monty Ossenfort ended up cooking. And I think in the end of the day, this is a fantastic pick, and it's so fascinating because we're seeing a completely different mindset coming into the draft when we're so used to Steve Keim, and we only had 1 year of Monty Ossenfort, and everybody was like, he's going to trade back with that 4th overall pick, and I stuck to my guns, and I was telling everybody, we got to stay here. We got to go after the generational talent in wide receiver, and I'm so glad that Monty Ossenfort isn't just I love to trade back, I like to accumulate more picks, right? So we ended up staying back. We did make a move in the 2nd round, but I think overall this Arizona Cardinal team and organization did exactly what they needed to do. They went after the wide receiver that everybody wanted, and Marvin Harrison Jr., arguably one of the best wide receivers that we've seen come out in quite some time. And then with a second first-round pick, getting Darius Robinson. And I like to gloat about this, but when we did our Bleacher Report, those were the 2 picks that I ended up getting. So I'm actually happy that fell the way that it is. Darius Robinson gives us the flexibility to do edge or inside. I think we're going to be using him more on the inside more. He might have to add a little bit more weight, but I'm really excited to see what he does. Now, this is kind of where Cardinals fans were kind of in an uproar when we ended up trading back from 35 to 43 with the Atlanta Falcons because we missed out on Kool-Aid, we missed out on Cooper DeJean, Johnny Newton. A lot of fans were kind of in an uproar, but like now listening or kind of looking at the tape and seeing who Max Melton is, I ain't mad at it. I feel like this is a Monty Ossenfort type of pick, guy that's really, really physical, a guy that's really, really kind of just a really good overall prospect for the Cardinals. I think maybe it's more of a Jonathan Gannon type of pick more than anything, just because the physicality, the violent type of play style that he is. So really happy about that. Trey Benson, great pick. There was a couple question marks with Isaiah Adams and Tip Ryman, but super, super high on Tip Ryman now. And then we got like 3 cornerbacks, Elijah Jones, as well as Jaden Davis. And then we got a lot of other needs that we needed for like the future. Like it's super weird to see a GM preparing us for the future, but like we potentially have a safety of the future for Budda Baker with Dadrion Taylor Demerson, and then another running back for the future as well with Trey Benson. I think the Arizona Cardinals absolutely killed this draft. Like we focused on the trenches as well, which is very important. We got Christian Jones, which I believe he was like in one of these top gurus draft boards of like number 55 prospect, and we ended up getting him where we got him. Like the Cardinals did such a fantastic job that like it's hard to pinpoint a negative here, right? We got generational talent, Marvin Harrison Jr. We got so much other needs. So if I'm going to come out here and say a grade, I'm going to give the Arizona Cardinals an A because I think we did a fantastic job, and we're just set up for the future. Now, here's the kicker. We got 12 picks. We don't need all these guys to hit. All we need is 4 to 5 starters out of the draft, and it's golden from there. So I think a lot of us can be all these other guys can be like depth players for the Cardinals. So super, super excited.
Standing on business with an A. Norb, talk to me.
Well, I had the pleasure of actually watching the draft live with Mike on Bleacher Report, which was a grueling long time. By the time we got to like the fourth hour of that second day, I think our eyes were bloodshot and we were like zoning out like zombies. But we hung in there, and it was actually fun to go pick by pick because I only had one pick, for the third round. And I got to watch Mike and our we missed you, Jesse, but we had this guy named Wayne who was representing the 49ers, and he really knew his stuff too. Not as much as you, Jesse, but he knew his stuff quite a bit. So I think Mike, you and I, every time they would draft somebody, Wayne would come up, "Oh, Mike, you guys killed. That's a great pick," So I think I was sort of getting a little bit of a slight just bias to, okay, sounds like this is a pretty good guy here. But every pick that you had, it just felt like, man, I don't know, other than quarterback, you guys almost, and kicker, you guys almost addressed every position on your roster there. But it couldn't go wrong with the first. I mean, the first third of your picks all were strong, made sense, fit needs that you guys had. And like you said, you guys just kind of got to add frosting on the cake to just get depth and drafts for the future. So I actually have you guys as having the best draft of the division. I gave you guys an A-.
A-.
Appreciate it.
Look at that. All right, Jesse, talk to us.
Yeah, I thought the Cardinals had a really good draft, except for, you got a million picks. So it's like, you better crush it. You start out with Marvin Harrison. It's hard to lose from that point on. There were a couple things, though, that I want to point out. One, I'm a fan of Jerzon Newton. I know he's got the foot injury, so maybe that's why you would shy away. I probably would have gone him over Robinson personally. I love the Max Melton pick, trading back and being able to get Max Melton. I think that's an absolute steal. I liked him more than I like Kool-Aid. So I thought that was a great pick. Not usually a fan of going running back super high, but Trey Benson was a heck of a pick for them. They needed a guy like Benson there. I like Tip Ryman. I love a couple of the players that you got late. Here's where you lost me a little bit, though. Round 3, you had 3 picks. You went running back, tackle, which probably not the tackle I would have gone, and then tight end and corner. To me, there were guys like Beebe, Amagaji, Haynes, Zenter, and you weren't able to get any of them. That was a bit of a head scratcher. And so for me, that's where you lost me a little bit, and that's why I would have to give them a B. But overall, a lot of really good players at the top end of the draft. I think there was a couple good picks towards the end, but that middle of the draft got squirrely for me, so I'd have to give them a B.
Yeah, can I get a quick rebuttal on that? Yeah, I do agree with you. And I remember being on the draft party here with Norb, and I said the same. I was like, that's crazy that we didn't go after Christian Haynes or anybody like that. Isaiah Adams, which I believe he's seen to be as the biggest reach for the Arizona Cardinals. I think he's going to be playing guard for us more than tackle. But I do agree that might be the biggest reach for the Cardinals, him and maybe Tip Ryman. Although I actually have come around to really, really liking Tip Ryman now, just the blocking ability. I can agree with what you're saying in terms of that middle part.
Got it. All right, Jake, talk to us, man.
I liked it, man. I mean, you started off, to be fair, with Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, like Jesse said, it's hard to have a bad draft after that. Darius Robinson isn't who I would have gone after, but he's a very good player. I like the fit there. Max Melton, I think we're all kind of fans of. Really fun player, very athletic. Trey Benson was my number 1 running back in this draft. So, going out and getting him when you already have James Conner, who I'm a big fan of, really like that. Isaiah Adams felt like a reach, but the funny thing is Isaiah Adams as a tackle's a reach. Isaiah Adams as a guard is drafted where he belongs. I thought he was, really a 3rd round guard. I saw there were people evaluating him at tackle as well. I just didn't see him as such. I think he translates very well to guard. Tip Ryman is somewhere you guys drafted him where I think his ceiling is. I thought he'd be in the 5th or 6th round. Big fan of his game, great blocker, but he's a really fluid athlete. I think that's another thing, is that we didn't really get to see a whole lot of what he can be. He wasn't utilized as much, and kind of low key reminds me of Kittle in that regard, coming out of Iowa, who really wasn't utilized as much in the passing game, but he was a stellar blocker. And no, I'm not saying Tip Ryman is George Kittle, but you have something there that, you already have Trey McBride. I'm looking forward to seeing those guys. Elijah Jones was a good pick. Dadrian Taylor Demerson was another really good pick. Xavier Thomas, you're kind of betting on the athleticism. You're betting on really a guy that was one of the top recruits coming out of high school. and you're betting on that natural, gifted talent. And hopefully NFL coaching can take him to another level. Christian Jones, a really solid pick at 162. And Taywan Palmer was actually my super sleeper article and video that I did. I'm a big fan of him, and I think he has a chance to be a key contributor this year on the offense. And if it's not this year, then next year. But to wrap it up with Jay and Davis, I thought you guys did a great job. I would give it an A, but I think you had a better draft than the Rams by virtue of the fact that Marvin Harrison Jr. was your first-round pick. It's hard to beat that. So I think they really covered a lot of needs. If I had a gripe or, a little bit of a, being picky, I would have preferred you guys go after a guy like Bo Limmer and get another center in there. But I really like overall what Austin Fort did. And I think the Cardinals, give them 2 years and they're going to be something.
Right back in the conversation. Chat, definitely do us a favor and tell us your grade for the Arizona Cardinals as well. Love having this overall discourse. And now, have to talk about the Seattle Seahawks. All right? Have to talk about those Seattle Seahawks. Brand new head coach. Talk to us.
Yeah, man. So this has been one of the more interesting draft years, just like as you mentioned, coming in with a new coach, new coordinators, really feeling like we're starting with a fresh slate. Although we have a lot of great weapons already in place and needs we don't have to deal with, but we have so many needs that we have to fill this year. And I felt overall the Seahawks as a whole went pretty much as each round went by, or at least every pick went by. I felt like, okay, this actually logically makes sense, which normally it doesn't. Usually they'll pick something that completely makes absolutely no sense when you've got 2 or 3 other needs and they pick something else. So for the most part, I felt like they started that way, at least for the first half of the draft. So picking them in the first round with Byron Murphy, that was pretty much hands down a no-brainer in terms of deciding to go that position. I thought they might go edge. They could have gone offensive line. I felt like any of those 3 positions, they had a great choice at any one they could have gone through. But the fact that they went D-tackle, obviously with one of the worst defenses in the league last year, they needed to shore up that in the middle of the defensive line. So Byron Murphy was a fantastic pick right there. Hearing the comparisons, to Aaron Donald, not that he's going to be that, but even the fact that they might even mention him in the same conversation excites me. So I can't wait to see what he can do. He's going to be obviously starter, impact guy, and hopefully can start wreaking some havoc against you guys in the trenches. Second pick I loved as well. I'm glad here that you mentioned about Isaiah Adams, that the Cardinals took him at 71. I was happy that Christian Haynes dropped to us at 81 because, again, we needed help, especially a guard, and I felt like we got the best guard in the draft. So having someone like him who's going to be able to start right away, going to be a huge impact both in pass protection, run blocking. Couldn't be happier with these first 2 picks. I thought we knocked it out of the park with these first 2. And then moving along, we went to linebacker, another position that we desperately needed to shore up because all we got right now is a couple linebackers that are for rent for 1 year. That after losing Bobby Wagner and Jordan Brooks, we're starting really from scratch here. So picking up Tyrese Knight, I would have. They traded back from 102. To get an extra pick later in the draft, and then had to got this one later. I kind of wish they'd picked. I would have sacrificed one of the later picks and just drafted a little bit earlier instead of dropping to where they did, given the needs that we have at this position. But the more I looked at Knight, and the more I thought, okay, this guy. I don't think it's a surefire thing how much of an instant impact he'll make. I'd like to think he'll compete for a starting position. I think he's going to be great against the run. Zone coverage is I think he's really well at that. So question is, can he tackle? Is he going to be what we need? Because tackling has been a big issue for this team. So, some question marks there, but I feel pretty solid about that for Tyrese Knight. And then we went to tight end with A.J. Barner. Again, another position since we lost 2 tight ends in the offseason, one of them to the Rams, and Will Dissly, one of our best blocking tight ends. So A.J. Barner out of Michigan, this dude's great tight end, blocking tight end. He'll pair up well with Noah Fant, but he can also catch the ball and do whatever is asked of him. So, I watched a good deal of him, especially when we faced him in the national championship game. I think he's going to be a great fit for Seattle. Makes for a great second tight end. So the first four, was loving where we were going here. So then round 5, we picked cornerback, and this is where I was a little bit. I would have probably considered maybe looking at linebacker again, or maybe edge rusher. But they decided to go corner, and our corners that struggled last year. Tariq Woolen not having the best sophomore season. And so I could see why they want to take here. He's speedy, he's long. I think he can compete well for potentially a starting position. And then going to round 6, this is where things got a little bit just like, come on, man. Are we going to just ignore edge rush here entirely? Well, I guess we are, because they go offensive line again. So they get Satoa Laumea guard. I think this is more of a depth move. I feel like we've got our starting guards are pretty much covered at this point. And so it's good to have future, depth. And when some of these guards who we have on just sort of a rental 1-year deal, he might evolve into something that we can have for the long term. But I don't think he's going to be able to make an immediate impact right off the bat. And this is one that was, I don't know, I still mixed emotions on this one, but going corner again, second corner out of Auburn, I was really thinking, man, we really could pick up an edge here. I would love to get more linebacker help, but to go corner, he's quick, similar build to Pritchett. It's just that we have 10 corners on our roster right now.
Damn.
10 corners, and we only have like 3 linebackers and 3 decent linebackers and a bunch of questionable guys. So I don't know why they loaded up so much on corner here. It was a little bit confusing, but I think the upside is he's got potential. It's just a matter of how is this all going to fit with so many guys in that just jammed in that on that roster right now. And finally, the last one, I felt like, it's the final pick. They're definitely just going. Obviously, the theme of it was fix the trenches. So they go offensive tackle, Michael Jarrell from University of Findlay. I didn't have much I could really look at as far as how much I feel like this is, again, a depth move. Future offensive lineman. We'll see what kind of impact he can make. But so overall, I thought we started really great, addressing what we needed. Just the latter rounds, some of the question marks for me as to what positions we're taking didn't exactly make sense given the needs and the number of players we had on the roster. But overall, I'd say I gave ourselves just a solid B. Wasn't perfect, wasn't fantastic, but it was really good. And so a B for me.
Solid B for Norb and his 10 corners. All right, Jake, how you doing, man? What do you think?
Oh man, I did not like this draft. Yeah, I thought they started off with a bang, getting Byron Murphy. Which, by the way, going into the draft, I was hearing he was going to go top 10. It sounded like the Falcons were going to take him. I don't know what changed, but so I thought that was actually a really good pick, and the fact they were able to kind of stay there and he drops that far. Surprising. But Christian Haynes, big fan of him, best guard in the draft, like you mentioned, Norb. Tyrese Knight is one of my sleepers. I wasn't expecting him to go in the 4th round, but I like it. You kind of lost me with AJ Barner. I had him as a 7th round tight end. Didn't really see, early day 3, for him. Also just don't really see how he necessarily helps you there. Because I don't think he starts right away, and I don't think he can play next to Fant right away. I think some of the other guys in that roster will do that. Pritchett, we actually disagree on, Norb. I love Pritchett. I was upset you got Pritchett. I was actually pissed off you guys got Pritchett because I think the Rams actually might have taken Pritchett, and they weren't going to reach on a corner that they weren't very high on, but Pritchett felt, like a guy that they would go after. Same thing with Laumea. I really like Laumea to the point where I had him as a tackle, and I had him going earlier. I had tackle guard versatility when I was, watching him, and I had him as a late 3rd, early 4th round grade. So I thought you stole him and Pritchett. Didn't really care for the DJ James pick, and Michael Jarrell, admittedly, I didn't get around to watching. So I'm going to give you a C+. The reason being is because I think that the Tyrese Knight and AJ Barner picks were pretty big reaches. I think Christian Haynes is the best guard in the draft. It's about where I had him in Byron Murphy. But after that, it's like I like Pritchett, I like LeMaya, but I felt like there were too many picks where I was like, I don't really understand why they went tight end. Like you mentioned, they didn't address edge. I know they drafted Derek Hall last year, but this is a new regime, so I thought that they would go in a little bit of a different direction. I know it's the same GM, but I thought they'd go in a little bit of a different direction. So I guess they're really banking on last year's class, which is fair. I like that they went out and got McDonald, his essentially, oh my God, his name is totally escaping me now. We were talking about him all off season from the Ravens, but you essentially got that guy in that room.
Are you talking about linebacker?
No, defensive lineman.
Oh, okay.
Jesse and I had him go in there.
Metabike.
Yeah.
God.
Okay.
Matabike, yeah. So I feel like Byron Murphy's kind of like your Matabike, and Christian Haynes is going to basically replace losing Damian Lewis. But after that, I think Knight, Barner were kind of reaches. I like the Pritchett and LeMaya picks. I didn't really care for the DJ James or Jarrell picks. So I gave it a C+. Maybe I'm being a little too hard. Maybe it's more of a B-, but I definitely felt like it was the worst draft in the NFC West. I'm sorry, Norm.
Oh, man.
No problem.
Look at that. All right, Jake, talk to us, man. What do you think? Excuse me, Jesse. Go ahead, man.
I was like, I just talked.
Do it again, Jake. Come up with a different grade. Come on, bud. Come on.
You need Jake to talk some more. That'll be a first.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I'm like, come on. I did a good job of like.
Now work your way back from round 6 through 1 and do it that way, can you? I actually liked what Seattle did. I gave it a solid B. Obviously, you've got to love Byron Murphy. That was I can't believe he fell there. I was so mad when he was the pick. And then Christian Haynes, I agree, I think is the best guard in the draft. And going to what Jake did say, talking about Leomia, I mean, for me, I mocked him to the 49ers about 1,000 times, hoping that the 49ers would get him. I believe that you got both of your guards for the future there. Also, Nehemiah Pritchett is another guy that I mocked to the 49ers, I would say probably 1,000 times, so I love that pick. Again, you did get squirrely in the middle rounds there in round 4, going linebacker and tight end. Linebacker was definitely in need. I don't know if that's who I would have chosen. And then, again, no edge rusher. That makes it a little bit tough. Otherwise, I would have easily probably had this at a B+ or better. I think DJ James was a luxury pick, but at some point, it's like, listen, you're in round 6. There's no such thing as a reach in round 6. And you just want to go best player available, regardless of whether it's a position that you have at abundance or not. And the way that I look at the way the Ravens were built last year on defense, I can definitely see that coming over to Seattle. They used a ton of corners. They would mix and match. I mean, you would see 5 on the field at one time. They are not afraid to put them out everywhere and use crazy simulated pressures. So there's something that McDonald sees there. And I just think that overall, I mean, defensively, McDonald is putting into place exactly what he needs. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, they really need a safety. And then I forgot that you would sign the safety from Jacksonville. I was like, well, they cut Diggs, they cut Adams, but you went and got Buddy from Jacksonville. It's like, well, they really didn't need a safety. So to me, I mean, I think Seattle did a pretty good job. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I'm going to give them a solid B.
Solid B. Mike, what you got for us, man?
So when I look at the Seahawks, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of there. I mean, I don't know. It's just Byron Murphy. I agree with everybody on the panel. I feel like that is the pick that I'm like, damn. It's actually really crazy to find out that all these defensive players, great defensive players, fell to as far as they did because of that crazy quarterback run. Right. So Byron Murphy, very, very good pickup. Christian Haynes, I agree. Do I wish the Cardinals went Christian Haynes? Maybe, but honestly, let's see exactly what Adams can do. But after that, I mean, the only really one that I can really say is that, like, I wanted this player is probably Pritchett, because I know the Cardinals actually met with them and I kind of mocked them to the Arizona Cardinals a few times. But like overall, just kind of normal, maybe just like depth pieces more than anything. Yeah, edge is definitely something that was ignored. And I don't know, I kind of wanted to see you guys get a quarterback. I don't know, just kind of throw that in the mud, just reach for a Penix or something like that. But Atlanta ended up doing it.
For it.
Yeah, I'll just give you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Put your grade out, then I'm going to address what you said.
B- is what I was going to give you.
Oh, come on, Mike. After all this time we spent together, you do that to
That's
me.
still pretty solid. I think that's still pretty solid. B minus. It's not
I did want you brought up the Penix thing, and you guys know, when we did our mocks, I kind of said, well, I'm going to do a scenario where Seahawks get Penix, and you guys were making all kinds of jokes about, getting Penix early and all that. And I know nobody here had foreseen what was going to go down with the Falcons doing what they did. Because I thought it would be crazy for us to pick Penix at 16. I thought that would be a reach, and then the Falcons just completely. Man, just
that
blew
was
things
worse
up.
than Tebow in the first round. That was worse than Tebow in the first round. I will stand by that. Because that was a reach. And I want to say I was shocked you guys passed on Fautanu. That I was absolutely stunned. I thought for sure he was going to be the pick.
I thought it was too. I mocked him up, and but I also said they could also go edge. They could also go D tackle, and any of those would have made sense. But the Penix one would have been that, I just hoping they dropped to 16 just to see what would happen, because it would just throw out this crazy scenario. But
that's a good sign about Grubb, by the way. That means he's not biased towards his own players and is actually, open-minded about the process. And you have to assume all coaches are like that, but now they didn't go after anybody, from Washington. So interesting stuff.
Yeah, the Falcons. And so the Falcons must have ran some local contests with elementary schools, and whoever won that round pick.
You guys pick the first pick.
You get a little Johnny from Riverside Elementary School. Who are you picking today?
Hopefully they spelled Penix's name correctly too.
Yeah. Oh man,
it might all work out for those guys in Atlanta. You never know.
Well, last but not least, I will tell you what. Okay, I did actually catch some of Jesse's stream and reactions to his first overall pick. So I know how he feels about that, but I'll tell you what, I am even more thrilled to hear about your overall thoughts on the draft by itself.
Absolutely. The slick Ricky Purcell pick was a bit of a head scratcher, not going to lie. I like Ricky Purcell. I think he's a really good player, actually, and I definitely can see the usage in the Shanahan offense. The biggest head scratcher for me is they didn't trade Debo. They didn't trade Ayuk. How are you going to get him on the field for a team that throws less than everybody else in the league, which normally is fine. It's like, hey, it's a rookie. You know what? They're looking for next year when Debo's gone, except for this rookie's going to be 24 his rookie year. By the time his 5 years are up, and you go to extend him for his second contract, he'll be 29 in year one of his second contract, which means you're likely not going to keep him past the 5 years. You're not going to use him a ton year one. So you spent the 31st overall pick on really what is best case scenario if he turns out to be good, a 4-year play. Didn't understand it that much. Still don't understand it. I know 49er fans are like, oh, he's going to be a dog. It's like, okay, he may be, but 4 years isn't enough for me. You had players like Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, Ladd McConkey, Jalen Polk, Adonai Mitchell. That's just the receivers. And then you had Jerzon Newton fall to you. You had JPJ, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper DeJean. There was a lot of options there, so he better be the best out of all of them. And I highly doubt that is going to be the case. So for me, started off a little bit rough, wasn't a fan of it. But here's what happened. Round 2, 3, and 4, they won me back over. Renardo Green, absolute G of a corner out of Florida State. This is a man that went heads up with Malik Neighbors, shut him down. Also went heads up with the aforementioned Ricky Purcell, shut him down. Very, very good player. He's a guy that not a lot of people were talking about or mocking to their teams. He's going to make some noise. I think he can start year one. I don't know the corner position outside of Ward on the other side, I think is completely up for grabs. And I think that he can definitely steal that as a rookie. Then they come back round 3. They take Dominic Pooney, who's another guy that I like. I know that he played a lot of tackle, but he played really all 5 positions. So he brings a lot of versatility to this team. Absolutely love that for a team that the offensive line could be anywhere after this year. If Trent Williams retires, they may need Dominic to play any one of those positions. So I love the versatility there. So between him and Renardo Green, who also brings a ton of versatility, that was the theme of day 2. Then you get into round 4. Love the Malik Mustafa pick. Absolutely love him. He's a missile. Love what he brings to the game. Jacob Cowing, although I would have preferred Anthony Gold a little bit more, I understand what they were doing there. It's the exact mold of a player that I was looking for. Jacob is more productive than Gold. I just feel like Gold brings a little bit more to an NFL team. But overall, it's the same exact profile, so I'm not going to be mad at it that they took a guy that they preferred. Isaac Guerrero was a head-scratcher, though. This is a guy who they traded up for, both of their 5th-round picks. We have 3 running backs that I like already. Then you add in the fact that Guerrero is, I mean, if you're looking at a Raz, awesome. I mean, he checks all the boxes. You look at the measurables, he's got them all. But he went to 2 different colleges and couldn't start, wasn't the main running back at either one of them. So maybe there's a chance that he could play fullback. I know that's being thrown around. Maybe he's your kick returner. You see that new kick return rule and you're like, all right, this works. Okay, maybe. But in round 4, I just feel like that was a little bit of a reach. But they went and got a guy that they liked supposedly as far as being a round 3 prospect, which, again, I don't understand, but I digress. Round 6, they went and get Jarrett Kingston. Bo Limmer was there. That was a little frustrating. But, again, much like I said about Jacob Cowing, I wanted a player who played on the interior. It was Limmer. They figured that Kingston was their guy. I'm not going to be mad at it. We were on the same page, at least as far as the roundabout position that they went for. And then in round 7, Tatum Bethune fits the Dre Greenlaw mold. Absolutely love this pick. Overall, the 49ers had some ups. They had some downs. I'm going to give them a B for the draft.
Flat out B. All right, Jake, what you got, man?
Yeah, so like Jesse was saying, I really like Ricky Pearsall as a player. He's a guy that I think I mocked in one of these mocks that we did to the Rams. I was a little surprised to see him go 31st. I think the guy you got in Buffalo, Dan, is a lot better and would have been a little scary in the 49ers offense. He would have provided something that they don't actively have, a guy that can go up and get it. The Ricky Pearsall pick, I was, again, like the player, felt like that was a little early. Renardo Green, they brought me back. Thought the Renardo Green pick was really good. He's somebody that I think can start day 1 across from Trevarius Ward. I know, Lenore is somebody that everyone is really high on, and, he can definitely be like the nickel there. But I think Renardo Green is going to push hard to be that opposite corner. Dominic Pooney, I watched every Kansas football game he was in, and he was a game changer for the program, to be honest with you. JUCO guy, comes into KU and immediately is a starter. Just difference maker, huge at left tackle. I genuinely, like when I was scouting him, I'm like, this guy could take over for Trent Williams. I'm not kidding you. He could be your left tackle in the future. He's got great athleticism where he can get to the second level, be a convoy. What I love about him is just his footwork, his reactive quickness. I mean, it's all there. He might not have the best mechanics right now. He's a little bit, too stand-up-ish, if you will, in pass protection. But with NFL coaching, he's someone like that where you'll look, 5 years from now and he's a Pro Bowler, potentially an All-Pro. I think he should start at right tackle. I think he is miles better than Colton McKivitz. And I think Feliciano should be right guard. That's just me, but we'll see what ends up happening there. Love that pick. Hated it too because I wanted him to go to the Rams. Speaking of another pick I hated because I wanted him to go to the Rams, Malik Mustafa. Spoke with him. Jesse, you're going to love the guy. Great dude. Very high football IQ and a guy that, look, he tested extremely well, but that shows up on film as well. You talk about a rangy guy that's not afraid to go downhill and make plays in the run game. I think he's going to have better ball production at the NFL level than he did in college. So another great pick. They really ate in the 4th round, in my opinion. Isaac Guerrero, I was a little bit higher on than Jesse, but honestly, Jesse made some really compelling arguments to, honestly come away with the conclusion that maybe it was a reach. Maybe he really hasn't proven anything. And they went with just kind of this athletic freak. And it was more so Kyle Shanahan having to have his running back. He makes those picks and, they make those picks. So that does feel like that. However, I feel like he has the tools in this 49er offense to be something. And so I can't hate on it. I actually really liked that pick. Jacob Cowing is always open. You turn on the tape at Arizona, that dude is always open. It does not matter what you do at the line of scrimmage. He finds a way to get open. So that should scare everybody because they already have Debo. They have Brandon Ayuk. We don't know what the future is there. Fine. Ricky Pearsall catches everything over the middle. And then you have a guy like Jacob Cowing who doesn't even have contested catches because there's nobody anywhere near him on the screen. So you have those guys and Juwan Jennings, who's really underrated. And you have one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL. So really like that pick. Jarrett Kingston, I thought you guys should have taken Bo Limmer, and I thought you were going to. So totally fine by me. Kingston, really good athlete, so I can't knock him too much. And, of course, he played at USC. So, you got to please the, the Southern Cal crowd there. But, I was a little surprised. Not a horrible pick, but surprised. And then Tatum Bethune, not somebody that I was expecting them to pick, but it does make sense. They need a linebacker. We have no idea, what's going to happen with Dre Greenlaw. We don't know if he'll be the same player or not coming off that injury. So I think it makes sense going out and getting a linebacker. In total, I think the 49ers get an A- here. I thought they had a really good draft, despite the fact that maybe, they reached on Ricky Pearsall. My feeling is that when you're at the end of the first round, you're playing with fire with that fifth-year option in your back pocket. And so I feel like if you really want Ricky Pearsall, because conventional wisdom, people would say, well, you want him that bad, trade down. Well, if you want him that bad, and you want him to you have that fifth-year option. So why not stay there, have a slight reach? I think that's what we saw with Carolina, who traded up to get Xavier Leggett. They traded up one spot, and that's the reason. They wanted that fifth-year option for Leggett, who I also think you could argue was a little bit of a reach. So can't hate on that too much. But, yeah, I think they filled some needs, and the rich get richer. What can I say?
Look at that. Absolutely love it. All right, Norb, talk to us about the Niners, man.
So again, I wish Jesse could have been with us when we were doing this marathon live stream, watching that day 2 of the draft. But when that one came up, I think we were all a little bit scratching our heads when Ricky Pearsall was chosen. And I think, I think every team in here in this draft has had a pretty solid first pick, and the fact that this one was a little bit of a head scratcher was a little bit surprising. I know that they've got, like all the other teams, they've all got needs as well. Offensive line, I thought maybe they'd put a little more priority to that. But like you said, I think in the middle of the upper middle of the draft, Dominic Pooney, that was a nice solid pickup there to address the offensive line. Malik Mustafa, that was a safety that I was actually thinking that would be a good fit for Seattle, because I still felt like we had way more corners. We could have used some safety help. That would have been a nice pickup, but dropped to you guys. So I was a little disappointed when I saw him go there. And then the rest of it, it really kind of just fit to, again, a lot of it was just following the reactions of our 49er friend Wayne, who was following along with this. And of course, he seemed excited about everything. Every time you'd pick up somebody, that guy's good, man. He's going to be great. He's going to be great. So it was definitely entertaining. But I felt like, just with that first, felt like a little bit of a reach there and a little bit of a head scratcher. I guess for me, that knocked down my overall grade of what the 49ers could have really done with in the beginning. So I put this one a little bit lower in this, probably the lowest of the grades. I put this as a B-.
Oh, B- coming from Norb.
Well, maybe that's just wishful thinking that I hope it turns out to be a B- to help us out, but we'll see.
Mike, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I think y'all just being way too nice here. That Ricky Pearsall was a big time head scratcher for me, and I think I'd love to see the reaction to your whole roundtable you had going on there, Jesse, because I agreed with you. I feel like completely different route. I feel like the 49ers had in their mind that they were going to go, and they literally made a last-minute decision. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep him after all day two. But I think that they were trying to move off of either of the two guys. Now, I don't know. I don't have any insight. That's just kind of how I feel. Ricky Pearsall, definitely a big reach. Now, like I said, I don't know him as a player very much. I don't really watch him too much. What I'm hearing seems to be a pretty good overall athlete, and hopefully he kind of works out for you. I don't know. But I don't think that was a good pick here in that first round. The only other guys that I like here that you guys picked up is Jacob Cowing. I really, really like because I wanted him as an Arizona Cardinal, and Dominic Pooney. I think we can go ahead and, say we have a lot of potential here on this list, but I think at the end of the day, I think you guys have the worst draft amongst the NFC West. I would say C+. Honestly, I think I would give a C+ here, and I think it all starts with that very first pick because so many other needs you could have gone, and Ricky Pearsall was the one to go to. And it doesn't make, I don't know. I truly feel like the plan was to trade one of these guys, and nobody was budging. So you're like, hey, well, we're stuck with them now. Okay, let's call him Slick Rick and call it as it is. But I honestly, I'm not a big fan.
All right, so then he'll turn into the Puka Nacua of 2024.
No, I got ready for the Puka Nacua of 2024. Jordan Whittington.
Oh, wow. Come on.
No. I'm telling you, I'm not saying he'll be Puka Nacua, but
yeah,
I didn't even get a chance to really name him, but watch out for him because he missed 22 games his first 3 years at Texas, and he had Adonai Mitchell, he had Xavier Worthy, and not to mention he had Ewers throwing him the football. God, that is hard to watch. But dude, this guy in Sean McVay's offense, I'm telling you right now, that guy. But honestly, if you're looking for a real like Puka Nacua this year, look at Javon Baker. That would be my pick.
Thank you. In fact, I was watching the Cardinals in that what was it, third round when you guys had like 4 picks. I was like, please, for the love of God, do not get Baker and pair him with Harrison. This is going to be hell. I agree with you. And this is listen, this is what I've been telling 49er fans. I said, do not be surprised if in 3 years you look up and Javon Baker is a better player than Ricky Pearsall. And everybody's like, oh, you're an idiot. It's like, okay, go watch Javon Baker. I'm just saying, go watch Javon Baker. He might be better than Ricky. And he went round 4. Ricky was the first pick for the 49ers.
I think you're right. And I think New England killed it getting him and Polk.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. And they got May, who I think he has the chance to be the best quarterback in this draft.
I agree.
I like it. All right, SoCal Ram came in and said, with Jesse, Niners got Pooney. Good pick up Niners B-. And then Christopher Smith, you guys are so much nicer to each other than on the game. It's very polite, unlike the Niner fans who take over my stadium.
We're just a bunch of nice guys, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how
We're chilling here.
Oh,
that's how I feel. I love interacting with you guys.
Yeah, most definitely. It's definitely a joy, man. And that is true. And so the AFC's roundtable is a lot of yelling. And,
mainly TD.
Right.
Yeah. Mostly TD just getting under all of our skins with it.
Hey, Jake, whatever you do, Jake, when you move into your new place, you got to make sure you keep the Michael Myers mask in the background, please.
Oh, yeah.
That's my
only
request.
Absolutely. I still need that horror film, by the way. I'm going to be.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be the first thing I watch.
Until we get it.
I will follow through on that. I'll send you a copy.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely love to see it. But folks, just a reminder, the NFC West Roundtable is taking a bit of a hiatus. However, have no fear because we will be back in full strength on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST. At the beginning of training camp all the way to the damn Super Bowl. Okay.
I have a request. I actually have a request. If the schedule drops next week, I think we should go in 2 weeks and go team by team and pick where we think the teams are going to be.
Schedule. We should do that.
I think we should do that.
That's actually brilliant. That's actually brilliant. Never mind, I lied to you. We're doing a schedule release special. All right, we're doing a schedule release special over at the AFC's Roundtable.
You got to love it.
On the NFC West Roundtable as well, folks, for all the roundtables that we have going on. But damn, dude.
Jesse, executive producer.
I appreciate that, man. All right, anyway, let's go around the table. Let's go around the table and have everyone say their goodbyes. Start off with Mike. What up, dude?
Goodbye. I'm just kidding. No. Find me on everything, Arizona Sports Fan, YouTube, Twitter/X, Instagram, everything. Like I said earlier in the beginning of this video, there's so much hype around the Bird Gang in the Valley. It's just about Marvin Harrison Jr. alone. So we're super, super excited. And yeah, go Bird Gang.
All right, Noah, what about you, brother?
Yeah, you can find me on social media at Norbcam. Yeah, it's going to be getting slow here, but I did. If you haven't seen it yet, you should check out my reaction to the Penix drafting, the Falcons drafting Michael Penix. I did a little reaction of what Kirk Cousins may have done when he reacted to that pick. So check that out on my YouTube channel. But yeah, we'll definitely be reacting to the schedule next week. We'll be looking forward to doing it with you guys, and then just other content to keep things entertaining up until training camp and things get rolling. So. But yeah, it's great to be here again with you guys. It was a lot of fun.
That's a beautiful thing. What about you, Jesse?
You can check me out over at Last Second Sports. In fact, I'll be live in 8 minutes with some more 49ers talk. So head on over there and check us out.
Bro doesn't stop grinding. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I just did a live stream. I'm going to be doing another live stream. And then I'm going to do another one on top of it.
Jake, talk to me, brother.
Hey, I love it. Yeah, so I don't even know what to say. I mean, like, I'm going to be doing content, but I guess I'm in the middle of a move right now, so I don't know how tomorrow's going to go, but pretty much put content out every day. I did start an NFL channel, which I'm going to be ramping up the content for, JE NFL, covering all 32 teams to the best of my ability. And if you are by any stretch, and probably most of you aren't because we're talking about, NFC West teams, but if you happen to be a Yankee fan, I'm doing a Yankees show every single day. Gary Sheffield Jr. and we break down the Yankee game. It's a lot of fun. We're over 500 subscribers now, growing slowly but surely. So yeah, just content.
That is the life we have chosen, ladies
yes.
and gentlemen. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to Jesse. You will not be seeing us at the beginning of training camp, but in 2 weeks, reacting to that. Thank you so much. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, we'll see you soon.
Go Cards.
Go Hawks, baby.